Oliver Stone's 1987 Wall Street was influenced by a movie that premiered about 30 years earlier, The Sweet Smell of Success, which received a score of 98 on Rotten Tomatoes and is included in a lot of lists of best movies ever made. While the industries were different, with Wall Street's big finance and Sweet Smell of Success big gossip, the main themes and character relationships were really pretty similar. I'm going to break the review down into four separate categories: ambition, barriers, greed, and conclusions. Regarding ambition, in The Sweet Smell of Success, Tony Curtis plays Sidney Falco, who's his press agent barely getting by. You could tell so by looking at the sign that's taped to his door as opposed to being etched in the stencil. He was trying to get favorable reviews with rumor monger J.J. Hunsaker, played by Burt Lancaster, and that character was based on Walter Winchell. The Wall Street equivalent characters find Bud Fox, played by Charlie Sheen, trying to bag the elephant, Gordon Gekko, played by Michael Douglas. Falco sees Hunsaker as the quote unquote golden ladder to the places I want to go, way up high, where it's always balmy. No one snaps his finger and says, "Hey, shrimp, rack the balls," or "Hey, mouse, go out and buy me a pack of butts." I don't want tips from the kitty. I'm in the big game with the big players. From now on, the best of everything is good enough for me. Bud Fox dreams of a day that he won't have to make crappy cold calls pushing stocks that are dogs with fleas. He'll be on the receiving end of those calls with all the perks in the world and rich enough not to waste time. What were the barriers? There are parallel scenes dealing with secretaries and who are acting as gatekeepers. Mary guards Hunsaker's advanced columns, and Sidney tries to sneak a peek to gather some inside information. In Wall Street, Natalie protects Gekko's door and his schedule. Both Sidney and Bud respectively try to sweet talk these admins into accessing the world that will give them any kind of advantage. Dilemmas. JJ has frozen Falco's clients out of the column because Sidney hasn't completed the command to break the relationship between his sister Susan, who's played by Susan Harrison. This was her first role in a movie. And jazz guitarist Steve Dallas, played by pre Adam 12 and Route 66 TV star Martin Milner. This infuriates JJ, who needs to keep his cringeworthy relationship with his 19-year-old sister intact, so he can't directly defame Dallas's reputation. That's left to Falco to find another outlet to print the fake news that Dallas is some kind of pot-smoking commie. But separation isn't enough for JJ. He needs total destruction. So he tells Falco to finish the job by planting pot on Dallas and having one of JJ's police cronies beat him to a pulp. Falco initially refuses by drawing a line in the sand with his ethics. His morals melt away with Hunsaker's promise to let Sidney write his syndicated column during the upcoming 3-month hiatus on a cruise that he'll have with his sister. No more commands like, "Match me, Sidney." After this stint, the best of everything would be good enough. The Wall Street Parallel shows Bud Fox sliding down the slippery slope of insider trading. Gekko instructs Fox to uncover a competitor, Sir Larry Waldman, played by Terence Stamp, what his scheme was so Gekko can seek revenge and wreck it. But initially protests, citing potential SEC violations and possible jail time, but folds when Gekko declares Bud is useless unless his father's on the board of directors of another business. Quote, "All right, Mr. Gekko, you got me." Slippery slope, successfully slid, now back to the perks. Conclusion. Falco and Fox both rebel against their mentors. Sidney, after JJ lied and threw him under the bus with his sister Susan by falsely claiming Falco instigated the Dallas beatdown. Bud, when Gekko initiates a hostile takeover of his father's airline. Sidney walks away from the toxic relationship, and Bud becomes a cooperating witness for the SEC and FBI, who was wired to get Gordon to confess to his crimes. Both The Sweet Smell of Success and Wall Street are case studies in how greed and ambition can accelerate one's predisposition for bad behavior.